Welcome to Lift History. My name is Rob from Vintage Weights PGH, and I am so happy to have Mark from Plate Snacks here tonight. Welcome, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I've been using Mark's products for a while. You've probably heard me drop a couple promotional spots for them or just seen me post them on my various accounts. I have some decals. I got some end caps, custom end caps with my logo on them. So I've enjoyed them, and it's kind of brought some customization in a very affordable manner to my home gym. But in general, listeners, I just like talking to the owners of these companies and especially small businesses here in the home gym kind of space to see how they started, see what kind of advice they have for other people that might be creative or have a product idea, and see, how things are going with their business. So if that interests you, then this is the episode for you. Now, if you've never heard of Plate Snacks, Mark, could you just give our listeners kind of a little rundown what Plate Snacks is all about?
Yeah, so essentially plate snacks we kind of use it as like the company name and the product, so they're plate snacks, but they're essentially vinyl weight plate decals, so you can apply them to your weight plates, your weight stacks. You can customize them. We have tons of stock, snacks, donuts, pizza, cinnamon rolls, a bunch of silly designs and things like that. We have banners. We just kind of, it's like a whole brand and a feel, a way to kind of customize your home gym and add a little bit of flavor to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that customization piece is one of the most enjoyable things about having a home gym, is that you make it yours. You're the king of the castle here. You might as well just make it look the way you want it to look, or have the equipment you want to have. I mentioned the word affordable because some of the more I don't even know the word for it, but just some of the more unique or different weight plates out there, especially newer ones, bumper plates, things like that with crazy designs and stuff, were starting to get pretty expensive. And although I started to get a little interested in them, I looked at the price point and I was like, I'm not really into that. And then in terms of getting something custom, like an iron plate or even a bumper, I can't even imagine what that would cost. So having a vinyl decal that could go on there that looks like sushi or looks like coffee or any of the different things, the price point was so much lower with your company's product. But I did a full review of it, and one of the things I pointed out was that I really like the durability of it, that this isn't just like stickers are like a dime a dozen. It's become very like in vogue, very popular these days to have like a little Cricut machine, I guess, at home, or sticker machine, and then sell a bunch of them on Amazon for cheap price, and you get what you pay for. But yours aren't really that. So how long did it take you to kind of get to that quality, or figure out what the best way to go about it was, so that, I'm going on about a year now, I think, with my custom decals that you printed for me on my 45s, my USA 45s. And those are like my workhorse 45s. I deadlift with them, I bench with them, squat, you name it. They're on my posts. I use them probably as much as just about any plate here. And the decals look great. I don't have any peeling. I don't have any fading. I don't have any scratches or anything crazy on them.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while to find the right materials, the right laminate, the right adhesive that's going to work on iron, some of the rubber bumpers. The biggest issue we had was on some of the weight stacks. So I don't know what kind of coating some of these companies put on there, like some of the e-coat type things.
Okay.
Make it very difficult to stick on, especially like a piece of like selectorized material, like a selectorizer stack.
Yeah, with the
And
rectangular pieces.
yeah, and some of those it was very tricky to try and find, but I mean it was just finding the right material, testing a bunch, and then at the very beginning when I started all this stuff to make sure that it was a viable, actually like a product and not just like some gimmick, and that's actually going to be withstand, at least home gym use and then
Sure.
some commercial use. Obviously if you have these things in a commercial gym with hundreds and hundreds of people a day dropping them and all the friction on it, it's going to cause some wear and tear. But I mean,
Sure.
I put these things through the ringer when I first started. I literally would put like a 10-pound plate in the dishwasher,
Ah,
and like, I ran it through there and it like works.
nice.
I'm always testing stuff, soaking in a different because I started this during COVID, so
Yeah.
different like bleach sprays and ammonia and like all this stuff. I'd make sure like none of that would like wear it or make it peel and all that stuff. So, I tested this stuff through the ringer, and at the end of the day, they are essentially stickers. It's a higher quality sticker than some of the stuff might get in your a package you get from someone else. But
Yeah.
so they will wear and nick and scratch. It's possible, but I mean, you can just buy brand new, deep dish plates from Rogue or something like that and drop it the first day and it's gonna ding. So like it
Yeah.
no matter what, this stuff is gonna, weights and equipment in general are gonna take abuse. That's what it's made for. So
They are. And as far as wear and tear, I think over time wear and tear is acceptable if the product holds up to a certain extent. Because prior to having a home gym, I could recall, I mean, every gym I ever lifted at, commercial gym, whether it was like a local place or even a high school or even a college gym, the plates were worn out. I mean, whether it was a bumper plate and from the next diameter down, the 25s, the 35s,
right,
there
it
was
doesn't
that
ring.
ring
Yep.
exactly, or whether it was the paint on the lettering and numbering that was all chipped off from the next plate down being on there for people clanging and banging. So, I think that's acceptable. What I was nervous about was, is this something that as soon as it's August and the heat goes up in Pittsburgh where I live, are these things going to be peeling off, and I just
Yeah.
dropped 40-50 bucks on them. So, and I can say that's not the case. They've really held up well. And I have them on my micro gains too. And I use those every single time I lift practically. So, and especially with the grip kind of lifts that I'm doing with the micro gains, some of the smaller ones, I mean, I'm dropping it like grip implements or clanging off of them, because with grip, you basically go until you fail.
Yeah.
So, they've held up really well as well.
We
Well,
have a couple, sorry, we have a couple
yeah, go for it.
customers that they literally have like outdoor gyms.
Yeah.
So, and they like the one guy was like lifting in the rain, like over like this little like tarped area. The one guy had literally was like dragging this stuff through mud and it stays out. So like
Yeah,
this is like they're like some of my earlier customers,
that's awesome.
back in 2020. And like, I still see them posting videos with these things and like they're still intact. I'm like,
Still doing it.
literally drug through the mud. And yeah, so it's pretty cool to see like, how over time, because that's I didn't have years to test all this stuff.
Yeah, you were
So,
just coming right at
I
it.
put it through the ringer to begin with, but it's like, I think like you said, there's an acceptable, you know, understanding of what to expect with this
Yeah.
type of product. And to my surprise, I think it's kind of been kind of exceeding, my expectations. And
Yeah, after I've driven a car for 10 years, I don't expect it to drive the exact same as it did when I
right.
pulled out a lot. So, when it comes to that, what are some of I mean, one of the things I love on your Instagram is seeing some of the custom stuff people do, especially the weight stacks. It makes me kind of jealous. Like, I want to get a weight stack just to put some plate snacks on it. What are some of the wilder kind of custom jobs that have come in, or any that are favorites of yours?
um yeah, I think a lot of people like the wrestler stuff, like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and stuff. I think one of your posts recently or stories you kind of shared some of the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I just threw that up on Lift History today. And when that first came out, I tagged Zach Evanesh immediately because he's a huge Ultimate Warrior. He was friends with him. And I've talked with Zach a couple different times, strength coach and author. And yeah, he loved it. So I was
So
trying to
so
send him your way to get some stuff for the underground strength.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so the weight stacks, I think a lot of people take them a little more serious. So like they're more like refined designs, a lot of sometimes it's just like a simple logo of their gym. And if it's like a smaller logo in the middle, we'll try and like add like design to it, like almost like a watermark in the back, in the background.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like, because like for example, a Titan lat
Uh-huh.
tower is like a super tall stack and it's like
Okay.
skinny. So to have like a design that big is very it's kind of, it's hard to work with.
Yeah.
So I design each one of these and usually I have the customer send in logos or pictures or whatever they want on them and then I will kind of piece it all together. I'll find the perfect font to pair with it, all the colors, any background details. Like I do a lot of design work with these.
Mhm.
I have the process pretty much streamlined for like a lot of the templates, and I've worked with some of the big companies, like Prime, Rep, Titan, like
Nice.
they sent me like actual like specs of their equipment, which is really
Oh,
awesome.
that's cool.
It's like all
That's
this on
helpful.
the
Yeah.
website. It's helpful that I can actually, have that stuff, and it makes my life a lot easier because not everyone's the best at actually measuring.
Yeah.
Get the worst measurements sometimes, and I hate going back and asking, time and time again, to get another measurement or anything like that. So yeah, so these companies, some of them will reach out, sometimes I would reach out to them, but or like I would have a customer that would buy a stack and I'd get the measurements from them. And then like, when I post it, I would tag that company, and then like they would like it or be like, oh, this is awesome. And then I'd be like, hey, like, I would love if you could send me the other specs, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome. Or just kind of, add some information on like, what kind of stacks do you use, or what are your different lines? That way I can kind of categorize them, and it makes it easier,
I
excuse me,
bet.
when I post them on my website, and it makes it easier for the customer to actually like find what they need, instead of just selecting custom and then telling me what they have. So anything to like kind of make the process easier on the front end makes like things move faster. I get things out, and I can get them out in a day or two, and I don't have to wait weeks and all that stuff. So very
Yeah, that
helpful.
makes sense. Takes the guesswork out of it. So have you had any you know, mishaps along the way? People, you send something out and it turns out it's 2 inches too small, too big. There's this, that, the other thing,
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
occasionally it does happen. Especially, sometimes I'll get the measurements from the customer, and I will, I'm doing this all on Illustrator, so I have these templates and all these cut lines that I have to set up beforehand. And during the design process, it's possible for me to, shorten it an inch or something like that, and then I send it
yeah.
to them. And then, fortunately, my customers, I honestly have like the best customers. No one complains and moans. They're just like, hey, like, this looks a little short. I'm like, yeah, my bad. Like, let me fix that. I'll get it right out to you. I'll
Yeah,
adjust it, print it, send it out like the next day.
that's
So I,
cool.
so I kind of take pride in like my ability to handle situations, quickly like that, and get the right size out there. And then sometimes I think recently I had used the wrong vinyl material. So like I have a
Okay.
couple different, depending on what product, I have like a very strong adhesive that I use for
Uh-huh.
those. There's like a medium one for certain applications, and there's like a normal one that works perfect on iron. So
Gotcha.
I think I'd use like the medium adhesive back vinyl, and it does not stick at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it just didn't work. Kind of like the eco type stuff you mentioned before. Just
yeah,
certain
and no matter what, and it's crazy. It's like the material is really like the same.
mhm.
The adhesive is like very, very much similar. It's just like I don't know what it is. And if you use any type of like household cleaner on a lot of these plates before you put the, any of that oily stuff is just gonna like make them just peel right up.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's wild. Well, that's a good segue though to some of the stuff I wanted to ask you about being an owner of a small business. I mean, you're not going to an international headquarters here. This is operated just out of your house, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, and it's for most part, I'm not saying your wife doesn't contribute to the, supporting you and everything, but it's a one man operation. This is what you're doing and at night. So what was that like starting the company? Was there anything that, you kind of felt, I guess I'd phrase it this way, anxious or nervous about that ended up not being a big deal? And then vice versa, is there something that you weren't expecting that out of nowhere you're like, oh man, like just kind of blindsided you?
Yeah. So I don't want to get into like the whole origin story. It's on some other like podcasts and stuff like that.
Sure.
But you know, I I work from home. So this is just like a side business that I started. So I work full time. I
Mm.
also run a side business like web development company too. And then I have plate snacks as like my third my third thing. Two kids,
Yeah, I
wife,
was
yeah.
gonna say, you sure you don't have enough going on?
Yeah.
You can't start something in a fourth endeavor?
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's next year. Um no, but where was I going with this?
Just
So,
any kind of, what was tough, or on the flip side, something that ended up not really being a big deal and was pretty easy that you thought would be tough.
yeah. So, when I really started this whole thing, I was outsourcing my printing. So like my margins like were pretty thin. I had started, well, I actually officially launched the company on Black Friday 2020. So, first time just new e-commerce business launching on the busiest, shopping day of the year. And during a pandemic. So like logistics, shipping, UPS, USPS, no employees or delays were weeks. So like, I launched. I wasn't planning to launch until like after the new year and after the holidays, but I went for it just because I had a post that went viral. Someone, one of the gym, garage gym accounts, garage gym fanatics. Shout out to Alan, appreciate it.
Nice.
He shared that early on, and I really had 40 followers on Instagram. He shared this post, and I was actually in the hospital with my wife. She was pregnant with our second, and we had a little. It was so Thanksgiving night. We're in the hospital, and I'm just like, everything's good. We're just like sitting there waiting. I'm looking down at my phone, and I go from 40 to 400 followers in a matter of like a couple hours.
Like, whoa.
I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting at like 28,000 or something. It's like, oh, 400 is like nothing. But, back then, and you see a lot of people talk about this, it's a big deal when you jump. It's, when you jump that much, that drastically, like it's a
Yeah.
huge deal, especially when, you're starting a new business like this, not sure that you're not sure how it's gonna, be received and, that sort of thing. So anyways, people are asking about, what are these? How do I get them? I'm like, screw it. I launched the website.
Yeah.
And I didn't have all the shipping stuff set up, all the
No.
shipping size. It's like, I lost a little bit of money,
Yeah.
on shipping cost. That first month of December, the first full month, I was pretty much being like very proactive on customer service. So like I was like watching these orders and I would see, oh, there's a delay. So I would like contact them like, hey, I'm, your order sent out. Unfortunately, with COVID and all this stuff, like things are going to be a little delayed. So, we'll keep an eye on it. We've seen this before, the status where it says like, delayed or whatever. And all the customers have received their items, since then. So like, don't worry. And like people appreciate that. So if you're starting a
Yeah.
business, like be proactive with like customer service and that, like it goes a long way. People will sit there and they'll share those stories. They'll say, they'll leave you great reviews. And it honestly was like the best thing I could have done. And like, cause it could have been disastrous that first full month of December, people trying to, get their orders before Christmas and all this other stuff. So like being that honestly saved the start of this business. So
I imagine the comments and reviews could have been the opposite if you wouldn't have done that. Like,
oh
oh, it
yeah,
took forever. These were Christmas presents that didn't arrive,
yeah.
So that's a very good piece of advice. Arm Assassin, excuse me, Arm Assassin Strength Shop here in Pennsylvania, I love. And one of the reasons I started really buying a lot of their stuff was the very first thing I ordered, something got held up, and Luke, the owner, shot me a text message like letting me know, like, hey, this is Luke from Arm Assassin. Like, are you cool with this? And I'd never had that happen before with anything I purchased. So I thought that was awesome. Like, yeah, that's great, man. Like, thanks for letting me know. Like, no big deal. Like, I'll catch it next Tuesday when it comes, like, whatever. So yeah, I mean, just that it probably took him whatever 30 seconds to punch in my number and shoot me that text, but it got a loyal customer.
Oh yeah,
So
totally. Yeah, I still do that now. Like just the other day, or a couple weeks ago, I had run out of my AbMats
yeah,
that I sell, and there's an inventory mismatch from the website to what I actually had.
got one right here.
Oh yeah,
Look at that action. So yeah, this is one of the things I bought from you because I love AbMat and I wanted an AbMat, but then I just like the design. I like the the donut, the frosting. I'm a big donut guy. It's like an Achilles heel. So all your donut designs, they hit home with me.
yeah.
So yeah, what happened with the AbMat with the
So
orders and
I
things?
ran out, and then I just the guy had ordered one, and I immediately emailed him, like, whoops, like, hey, sorry, there's an inventory mismatch. I plan to get more of them in, this time. So I'm like, you can either wait a few weeks, I can send you a donut one instead of the pizza one that you ordered, or I'll refund you. And then actually I didn't hear back from him, so I refunded him because I didn't want him to wait his order. That way he got notified, all this stuff. And then I got him in. He was fortunately on my email list or saw my Instagram. I said I got more, and then he put another order in. I gave him a discount code, and threw in a couple extra sticker packs and stuff like that. And it's good.
Kind
And
of
he's
smooth
very
things
happy,
over.
very thankful. And it's just the little things like that, especially when you're a small business, because you can't always compete on price with some of the bigger manufacturers or whatever. They can mass produce things, and you kind of have a personal touch, especially with like custom design stuff and that sort of thing, just keeping people in the loop, and it goes a long way.
Well, how did this come to be, the collaboration with AbMat? So I mean, did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Like, how did the pizza and donut AbMats come to be?
Yeah. Well, when I first started this business, I kind of knew that there's other people that could honestly come in and do the same exact thing, right? If they have the equipment, whatever, they could do the same thing. So like what I really wanted to do and what I focused on early on was kind of creating a brand. So when people see something customized like on their plates, they immediately think plate snacks. So like that's like what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to just like sell those. I wanted to kind of expand into some other products while kind of keeping that donut, the snack, silly pizza, that sort of flavor to the brand. So I was actually listening to Matt Benson's podcast.
Okay.
And he had Dylan on there from AbMat, and Dylan was telling his story about how I don't know if it was the Gronk story or one of the stories he was telling on like how he just like went for it. He emailed this person or talked to this person, and the rest was history. And I appreciated that. I like the AbMat products. I like what they everything they did.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I emailed him and I'm like, hey, like I this is what I'm doing. And he was actually aware of like what I was doing with like plate snacks, which is pretty cool. And then I was like, hey, I want to kind of add some additional products to my brand. And oh, sorry,
It's okay.
I was had to hit the baby monitor.
It's all good. I was wondering if it was going to be the 2-year-old, so it's all good.
So I wanted to add some additional products and kind of keep it on brand, not just something totally random.
Sure.
That's later down the line. But I emailed him. I'm like, hey, is there any way we can do like some kind of like plate snacks branded, AbMats? I'd love to like carry them in the store. And he's like, if we're gonna do this, like let's make it like way cooler. Like let's make it look like a donut. So then I came up with this design, and then he like really pushed me on the pizza. He's like, we got to do a pizza. He's like, we got to do a pizza. I'm like, all right, we'll do a pizza. So we did the pizza one, and with the red and the yellow screen print on it, and it just turned out awesome. Like people love them. Sold a bunch of them, and
I've gotten to know Dylan a bit, so I can imagine that conversation taking place. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It was like I just kind of reached out, and like we have to lose, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like nah, we kind of, or the minimum order quantity is this, or next time,
the plus, I mean, there's a little duality there, I guess, something in common, I guess I should say, that you mentioned early on in the episode how Plate Snacks is the brand, but it's also the product. Well, same with AbMat. AbMat's the brand. They make lots of different products at this point, but it was the primary product to start with. So that's a pretty cool connection. And who knows, maybe Plate Snacks will keep on branching out. You have a barbell holder that kind of like you said, you could pick up a barbell holder on Amazon. You could buy one anywhere pretty cheap, but it's not going to have like frosting dripping from it and a cool logo and like just that look to it. So are there anything you can talk about on the horizon that you're thinking about for Plate Snacks in terms of branching out into other products, or even just a tweak or a twist on things you already have?
Yeah. I mean, slowly over the last like year and a half, I've kind of been working with a lot of different, usually when you see like a product added to my website that's like not branded, for example, Barbell Rescue, like
Sure.
small business, Kim's an awesome
Yeah.
guy.
Love them.
And just like I don't mind adding additional products that I feel are awesome. They're great people, great product, great company, smaller companies that I can help them. And it's also something that's helping me grow as well by adding,
Yeah.
not everyone. And one thing I learned early on was like, no matter what, like continuously come across like new brands. And I'm like, oh wow, they got like 100,000 followers. Like, how have I never heard of them? It's like it is very
Yeah.
easy to, for these smaller companies to just kind of like fly under the radar unless you're in like, some community, like your community where like you would
Hmm.
say something about Plate Snacks or,
Yeah.
some or the CrossFit community where some big brand talks about Kim's product.
Sure.
And so it's very easy for those smaller companies. So like if I can kind of help, this company by showing their brand and then I can, sell that product and it just kind of all like kind of works. So going back to your question, just like trying to find other small companies that have cool owners that I like talking to. And
Yeah.
like, if there's like, in some kind of wholesale product, wholesale pricing, like I'd love to like carry this product.
Yeah.
um, One product I started selling, which I thought was going to kind of, and from a business standpoint, you really just kind of want to like increase your average order value, right? So
Mm.
like, can you put on your site that someone can just like, you go to the grocery store, you grab a Snickers bar, like
I was just gonna say
right,
it's
impulse
like
buy.
the magazines, the Snickers bars, the impulse, like, oh, I guess I'll get a pack of gum. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I came across this company that sells like these like protein gummy bears and I bought them. I tried them. I'm like, these are pretty good. So
Yeah.
like I'm like, hey, I'm like, this is a perfect product to add to my site. It fits in, it's a snack, it's
Yeah.
protein for people that want protein and a snack and whatever. So like I started selling those with the intent of like, oh, someone's gonna buy, these plate
Yeah.
snack stickers and then they'll throw in a couple packs of these and like increase. It's not like that at all. Like I sell a ton of these things.
Oh, really?
I sell tons of them,
So
but
that
it's
was
like
a nice
just
surprise. Yeah.
it's just those. So
Just
like
those.
they're not selling my other
Yeah.
products. I've been able to actually grow by not selling like my
Oh, that's
regular
funny.
products, which is pretty cool. But
Hey, that's a
just
blessing in
continuously
disguise,
looking
you know?
for other products like
Yeah.
that.
Well, even just your thought process of, why you wanted to do that, I think is valuable for people to hear that might have a singular product, but then, trying to pair it up. So already, I mean, the first thing I thought when you brought up the gummy bears was what you brought up as far as like your product being a gift for someone that like, well, if I was buying plate snacks as a gift for someone and then I saw these gummy bears, I might just throw that in there. Like, oh yeah, here you go. Happy birthday. You got these plate snacks and here are these cool gummy bears or
Yeah.
whatever the occasion is. So that makes sense to me. Now, as far as your various jobs, your 5 or 6 jobs you seem to have, do you aspire to go full time with plate snacks, or at least with the tandem of plate snacks and graphic design, or are you comfortable where you are in terms of the balance of things?
Yeah,
Where do you stand with all that, or your future goals?
I have a pretty good work-life balance.
Yeah.
Like I said, I work from home. Been working from home for like 3 years. Like I kind of have that flexibility. My day job is like quasi-government
Hmm.
job. Pays well, great benefits, and I have a flexible work schedule as well. So like now I'm have to go back in the office, but it's just one day a week. So like that's gonna be like, so Wednesday orders might, take a
Yeah.
day to go.
Yeah.
But we're like, I can just like, when I have to kick off a print job or something like that, I can run down in the basement. That's where my print shop's set up, right on the other side of the gym here. For now, I'm hoping to eventually expand and have to get like a separate space,
Hmm.
where I have to get like a bigger printer and more printers and stuff like that. But I'm not quite there yet. I'm like borderline where I'm like, I think
Okay.
I could, but like I don't want to just yet. And
Yeah.
plus it's super convenient. But right now I like the balance of plate snacks, how it is
Hmm.
now. I'm slowly growing at like a good pace that I can continue, continue to handle it. And I think once I do hit that point, instead of going full time, I think I would just kind of continue to like maybe hire someone, or kind of
Mhm.
work it that way, like keep it as it is, like my involvement,
Yeah,
and like maybe have hire a designer to do the custom jobs,
gotcha.
or that sort of thing.
That makes sense. Because I find like the scaling of a business to be interesting too, because I sometimes I see smaller businesses that are just getting swamped, which you would think would be a great thing. Like, oh, look at these orders coming in. But
Yeah.
Mutant Metals, Chris has posted a ton about it.
Yeah.
Belfed Strength, who I love, also named Chris, but with a K, has posted about it, just getting swamped with stuff. And it's been interesting to see how they kind of handle those situations. So in your experience with plate snacks, it's been more of a gradual growth, which I think might be a nice thing. So you're not,
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
I mean, I
Um,
didn't offer anything custom until
oh, okay.
about a year and a half in,
All
because
right.
that was outsourcing everything. So basically, I made my money on economies of scale. So like I had a set amount of designs. So like I would buy those in bulk from a third party, and like that was the product. And then
Yeah.
people wanted custom, they had to have like a minimum order, because I had a minimum order and I had to make some
Uh,
margin too. And then
gotcha.
and the main reason I wanted to kind of bring printing in-house, and when I started, I knew that I had the opportunity to really increase margins and add customization. And that's like
Mm,
where the money is going to be in your customization, because not everyone wants like snack designs and that stuff, or the still a log. It's one
yeah.
of my favorite designs, but not a lot of people like it. I think it's really
Yeah.
cool. It's like one of my
Yeah.
favorite. Yeah, but um yeah, so when I brought that in house, that kind of just had a lot of opportunity. And then I
Sure.
think one of the advantages I like this type of business has over someone that's like welding or fabricating stuff and building equipment, is there's a lot of like digital stuff to this. So I like I said, I work in like web development, I work in software development on my day job. So I like I wrote scripts to like when I get a custom design,
Hmm.
I actually have a script run that like generates it in
Okay.
Adobe Illustrator, and like every like shape, or like every like possible size, from like 2.5 to all the bumper plate sizes to 45. So like instead of like resizing everything and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all that, I have that automated. And then
That's
now,
awesome.
just like the other day, I've been getting a lot of custom orders the last few days, and I kind of like, there's like a week where I'll get a ton of like custom orders, and it's like a ton of stock orders, which are nice, because then it's like, all right, just pull it off the shelf, and then
Yeah.
oh, some gummy bears, like perfect, I got them here. And then but like the custom orders, I have to like set up a project file for that customer. I have to you know, set up the templates. Like I have different templates. So if it's their iron plates or bumper plates, or if it's a row, stack, or rep, Athena stack or whatever, I have different templates set up for those. So like now I wrote a little program that when I get an order, I run a shortcut, it pops this thing up. I just put in the order number, put a little description, and then
Nice.
like the template, and then like it automatically like copies all these files over, and like the project's like ready to go. So then I just
Yeah.
double
Yeah.
click it, and then like throw in the design, like just kind of like I'm able to streamline a lot of that stuff just because it's digital. And
You might be selling yourself a little bit short then when you said earlier on that, like, oh, anyone could do this. Well, I don't know. I mean, it might take them a while at least. I don't know if anyone could easily do what you're doing, writing all
sure.
of those programs and things. That's pretty slick. So you already mentioned a little bit of your favorite custom decals, some of them. You mentioned the log. But when it comes to custom decals, I've wondered about high schools, colleges, commercial work. You said you did a little bit of commercial stuff. Have you had any kind of dabbling with that area? Have you had any high schools or colleges or anything like that reach out, or vice versa? Have you contacted them? Is that something you're looking to get into?
Yeah, I am. It's just a matter of, that balance where it's like I have a list
Yeah.
of things. It's like it's such a no-brainer to like reach out to these businesses and these
Yeah.
schools and local gyms, stuff like that. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's part
That's
of
why you
like
need that employee. Yeah.
yeah, that's part of like the scaling, being able to do more and
Sure.
faster. But I actually have done five, well, three so far, three YMCA's,
Nice.
completely brand new builds. They wanted to do all their bumper plates.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that was pretty cool. That was like one of my first like, huge like builds. And then actually I have to finish after this. I have to go finish up 45 stacks, custom weight stacks for this gym in somewhere in like the Caribbean.
Get out of here. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's
So
very cool. Well,
yeah, so
that's
like that was a
I
that was
mentioned the heat in Pittsburgh. I mean, the
yeah,
heat in Caribbean is topping Pittsburgh. Jeez.
yeah.
But that's a
So
testament to your adhesive that they're heading
yeah,
there. That's
no,
pretty good.
and there's some other smaller, you know, gyms in like Texas and stuff that like,
Mm.
they'll order 4 or 5 stacks and order, they just ordered 4 more. And then he's like,
That's cool.
I'm gonna order 4 more. I'm like, thank you for kind of spacing them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
That
different
helps.
sizes too. You know, like how some of those like those gyms or whatever, or jungle gyms or whatever they call it, where there's like 4 sides and then
Yeah. Yeah.
4 sides and like they're all different like weight stack sizes and there's like yeah, it's a mess to, like try and figure out those templates. But
Yeah.
versus like just a rep stack, which is like nice and straight. I'm like, I can
Yeah.
knock it out quick.
You
But like
got
when
the
it's like
specs,
this
you
and
know
then
what you're
this, and then
doing.
there's like the holes are offset. I'm like, dang it. I'm like,
Yeah.
ah. So now I have like people send pictures of their stack when it's like
Okay.
not one that they select from the list of like big
Yeah.
Prime and all those companies. So
Well, it occurred to me that, you're mentioning how, like, yeah, you just don't have time to reach out to them. I think a partnership with a company, that does a lot of gym. I mean, well, the biggest would probably be Sorinex. They're doing colleges, all kinds of stuff. But then, on smaller scale, like Stray Dog regionally in Ohio does a lot of high schools. Surplus Strength is starting to get out into various schools and things. So, getting in and getting to know another company like that would be a great kind of partnership where when they, get the bid, part of it can be, hey, we can get your logo on here, and then they give you a call. Hey, St. Bishop, Canevin High School or whatever needs this logo on this many of 45s.
yeah, I
So
actually have talked to a couple of those two of those companies you mentioned.
there you go. Nice.
Yeah, the one hasn't really fell through, but it was great to make those contacts, and they actually
Yeah.
had reached out to me,
Yeah.
for an event that is actually this month, and then that fell through last year. But it's good to like actually have a contact and like know that some of these bigger companies, like a Sorinex or whatever, like knows like this sort of product exists for maybe a gym that can't afford, a smaller school that they build the racks, but like
Yeah.
they can't afford all these extra custom benches or whatever. And
Exactly.
then, I talked with Stray Dog, and those guys are cool down there. About
Because
doing
you're in
some,
Ohio, right?
yeah, yep, Sunny
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Sunny Cleveland, the arch nemesis of rainy Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
um,
that's cool. So I
yeah,
guess I guessed correctly then.
yeah.
Well, but I think you're right though that you never know what's going to come back around, and there's been different connections that I've made that a year and a half later I'm like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, let's hop on a podcast or whatever, that I thought this person was never going to come on the podcast, and then out of nowhere here they are. So you never know.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, a lot of those companies I never thought would even know I exist, and then for example, I don't know if I should I talked. Well, I was in, for example, Rep had reached out,
Yeah.
Because one of their previous employees, was a customer of mine, and
Nice.
then I think I had reached out to them about something, and then like we were talking, and then they're like, would you like to be part of our 12 days of lift miss? I'm like, that's amazing, like that is amazing exposure.
Great.
And like I'm like, yeah, and like they're awesome to work with, and they work with a lot of people in the community. They're like right in the community. They respond to everyone and different forums and stuff like that. Like Rep is an awesome company, and those people are awesome to work with. And just to like know that they're aware of like smaller companies and stuff, I think is like pretty cool. And with all these other companies too. So
Yeah. I mean, their Rep, I think, has done a great job the past couple of years of really just getting involved in the home gym community and, you know, listening, talking, jumping into Discord, doing whatever kind of
right.
thing. So they've been around, and I think it's paid off for them and kind of built a positive reputation with a lot of people. As far as your day job, you don't have to get into specifics, but you said you have a good work-life balance. I was curious, you know, with working plate snacks outside of your day job, I assume you have a boss at your day job. Plate snacks, you don't really have a boss. You're running the show. Is there ever any time that, you know, you kind of thinking to yourself like, man, one way or another, like you find yourself appreciating your boss a little more at the day job because you run plate snacks, or vice versa? You're thinking, man, I really like not having a boss.
Yeah. No, I mean, my job, I've been there about 12 years now. So like it's always been like, like a very flexible environment where, I have a bunch of PTO and I have like nice flexible hours, and now I'm working from home, every day. So like there's days where I know I got stuff to do, or I have to like do something in the afternoon, I
Yeah.
will start at 6 in the morning instead of 7, take a 2 hour lunch, and then, finish up at 4:30 or whatever. I can just kind of work when I need to. And like I said, working in like software development, I think a lot of people in that industry kind of know, like, you get your stuff done and like you're good to go. Like whether you take a longer lunch and work a little bit longer, or, so you're pretty flexible. But yeah, it's nice just kind of you know, owning your company and just doing what you want. But then also it's like being solo, you don't always have like everyone to bounce ideas off of and get feedback. So like a lot of those companies that I talked, like a lot of the smaller companies, I talk with those guys a lot, Sean from Bear Steel Equipment, Mike from Micrograins,
Yeah.
um, Kim from Barbell Rescue. Like we'll bounce ideas off of, and a lot of the guys in the just like content creators or whatever you want to call them, like Matt Pendergraph and guys like
Yeah.
that. I consider friends, a lot of these guys I talk to, and I'll be like, hey, like, what do you think of this design? It's like, oh, change this, or like that color is kind of clashing or whatever. So it's good to, and a lot of my earlier designs with plate snacks, like the pancake design, right? I
Mhm.
knew I was going to do a pancake, but it was just like, when do you actually take the time to do that design, until I start getting like customers and they're like, hey, can you make a pancake? So like I will work on a design and I would send it to that person and be like, what do you think of this? Like, oh, change
Mhm.
this. And same with like the concha, the little Mexican like sweetbread, the pink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really know what that was, so people were asking me. So I literally work with like 3 different people that asked me on like the design. I
That's
different,
cool. Yeah.
different
You're just
variations, and like,
sourcing the customer's input.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like, it's awesome because like that's what people want.
Sure.
They want to give feedback,
Mhm.
and they also, and then I give them a discount, or I throw, a gym flag or something like that in with their
Yeah.
order for helping me, or so.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. All the different places you name, you haven't named one yet that I don't like. Like I really, I've got the mod bar over in the corner. Actually, I think you can even see it on camera over in the corner, hanging there from Bear Steel. And Matt Pendergraft's given me advice for a couple of years now. He's like the Martin Scorsese of home gym content. He's the best photographer, videographer out there. So yeah, he's very skilled and he's got a good eye. So he's the right guy to ask for any kind of visual kind of opinion. But when it comes to plate snacks, other than earning some money, why are you doing this?
Honestly, I don't know. You know, I
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
why did I do this? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the origin story was like, I was just the apocalypse started, and
Sure.
gyms were closed, and like I wanted to build out my home gym, so I'm on Marketplace and Craigslist and OfferUp, and I just wanted some more weights for my gym, right? So I
Yeah.
find sweet deals, a box store bench, a crappy bar, and 255 pounds of rusted cap plates.
Yeah.
So I'm on these different forums and stuff, and YouTube and Reddit, trying to figure out like how people clean these things. And then I started seeing people do different color lettering. I'm like, cool, like that blue plate with the white lettering looks cool, or that that color combination looks sweet, or the black with the gold. Like that was like the first ones I did. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Like every other plate has white lettering or silver. I'm like, so I saw like some people, I started to see like a customization like thing. People wanted to customize their gym. And then I just thought, I saw people hand painting like the back of their plates then, right?
Hmm.
They would do like a donut, or they would paint, a sports team. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's cool. Like people might like that, but not everyone has the talent to do it, or the time,
I was
or
just gonna say the
feel
time
like,
is the big thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure
Like,
I
they
could
don't
come
know
up with
how.
something, but I don't have time for that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, me neither. Somehow me neither. But I'm like, there's gotta be an easier way. I'm like, why wouldn't vinyl work? I'm like, people wrap their cars, they put skins on
Oh yeah.
laptops, fat heads on a wall, on their
Yep.
phones, all this stuff. I'm like, why wouldn't it work? It's pretty durable. It's gonna
Yeah.
have some wear and tear, but like I think it'll work. So like I sat, and this is like March, April, and then I sat on the idea for a few months, and then I told my wife about it, and then I'm like, I might try this. So I literally took some weight plates to some local printers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey, like, give me some material, like, let's try this. Like, I throw it up on the counter. They're like, what's this?
Yeah.
Like, make it stick. Like, which
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Slap
what do
something
we?
on here. Let's
Yeah,
see what happens.
they're cool. I went to like three
Well,
different ones. They gave me material. They're like,
that's the
test it out.
prototype.
And I'm like, this works. And then I whipped up some designs, and then I think I started with 5 designs, and then I had them printed up, and then I'm like, cool, like I think this will work. So I
Yeah.
created an Instagram account, started posting pictures, and then had a Shopify store. I had previously run a e-commerce store that failed miserably. But so like I
It was more
knew
of a learning experience. Yeah.
exactly, I knew what it took to, or what not to do, or at least had some expectations, and they were very low at that point. So I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like when I had like when I that first like weekend when I like sold $400 worth, I'm like, holy crap, like that's more than like 2 months on this other
Yeah.
crappy business I ran.
Yeah.
So like I had low expectations. I'm like, this is just a cool idea. Like maybe I'll sell some, make a couple extra bucks, kind of
Yeah.
cool. I never thought it'd be like, 3 years later, I've had like these additional products, and I think I posted something the other day that I sold to, I think I'm at like 20, 16, 18 countries I've shipped to
That's awesome.
in the world. Maybe more than
Yeah.
that. I can't remember, maybe 22. It's
It's
quite a
cool to
bit.
just keep building, and just
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah. And
progressing.
like also, I saw tons of Australia. And I was really hitting
Mention the
Australia hard.
Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Germany, obviously Canada, not so much in Mexico, a little bit though. Let's see where else. Bunch in Asia. Um, yeah, I just sold one to Japan. That was like the first time in Japan. That's
It's
cool.
not a it's not a different country, but a first for plate snacks for me is when I'm searching for old weights, and I'm on Facebook, Craigslist, OfferUp. I'm scouring. I'm looking all over the place. I never see someone selling used weights that have plate snacks on the back, which I guess is a good thing. It shows that your customers are, keeping the product. For the first time, I mean, it's first time ever was like 3 weeks ago. Someone had some American flags on the back, and I was like, wait a minute, what are those? And I thought, oh my gosh, because then in another picture you could see the front that it was just like a generic plate. That I was like, those are plate snacks. Like that's someone is getting rid of their home gym, but they had plate snacks. So that's
I
only
saw
occurred one time. So clearly you have a pretty good I don't know what the term would be, retention rate. I don't know what it is,
yeah.
but yeah.
I always look for that too, because I'm like, that'd be so cool. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, even though you're getting rid of it, like I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I saw someone selling a functional trainer
Uh-huh.
with custom stacks.
Oh, there you go.
I'm like, I remember doing this project.
Yeah, this is the
Like
one.
they're still on there, and it was like it
Yeah.
was like an earlier project. So it was like a year and a half ago. Like,
Yeah.
So
Well, wait it out. They I'll have the video coming out soon. One of his he had started during COVID, shut down, waited out, and he had hand welded the lettering in to his first like whatever
oh
number
yeah.
of plates because he didn't have like a laser yet or anything like that. And it was on like Facebook Marketplace. He got some back so that he could like have like one of his first
Like, he
plates.
told me about that. Yeah, I know Brian too.
Yeah.
He's one of those other companies. We
Yeah.
bounce ideas, and he's always coming up with tons of ideas. He's always like, "Hey, like you ever
Yeah.
think about this?" I'm like,
So yeah,
like,
he brought this plate. It was rusty, and he brought it to Home Gym Con last April, and then I took it home and cleaned it up and sent it back to him. So I'll have a video coming out in a couple of weeks of that
cool.
process, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a cool thing to do, and I think it's a cool story how he was able to get back one of his first plates. So who knows, maybe you'll one of your first plate snacks that are out there, you'll get it back.
That'd be funny.
Well, actually, Home Gym Con, the slant board for doing squats and things. The slant board guy was there, which I forget his name. I just call him the slant board guy. So no disrespect, slant board guy. I love you, but I forget your name. But at Home Gym Con, this used slant board that Adam from Garage Gym Experiment had, he walked up to it. He's like, "Hey, this is one of the first ones I ever built. I built this in my driveway." So it was just a really weird coincidence because he's
Yeah.
from Australia. So that was a really strange one. So you never know what'll happen. Before we sign off here, I do have to mention, I find it, if I'm playing like armchair psychologist here, I find it really interesting that you have all these flamboyant, like really wild decals and stuff you make, but your home gym is straight up just gray and black. like you got nothing besides the little bit of red on the skull chalk bowl. I
Yeah.
mean, did you just are the other sides of the plates
They,
like
they are. They
colorful?
are.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So pretty much all the but yeah, I like a clean look to begin with. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna turn this a little bit.
sure. Go for it.
So
Okay,
I
there
got
you go.
some
So you got
here.
you got some
Yeah.
lighting back there.
Yeah,
You got the
the
plate
barbell
snacks,
holder, that's the Oak
barbell
Club.
holder.
Yeah, well, that's another cool company I met early on.
Nice.
Talk to about stuff, and so you got some weighted out plates there, and
Yeah.
see what we
Very
got over
cool. Very
here.
cool.
Crappy
Nice. And then I see some more plate snacks there, and you got the AbMat.
yeah.
So okay, so it's not all gray and black. You do have
Yeah,
some color in there. Okay.
yeah, I
Because
do.
I just found it interesting. I'm like, wow, like I can't believe he just works out in a gray room with black plates.
No, there's a pop of color, but this whole thing started. I wanted to, and that's what's kind of cool. This is kind of like a plug for plates next. Like you can at any time you can flip your gym, right? So
True.
like this all black. I could literally turn all these plates around and it's a completely different gym.
That's true.
So it's kind of cool. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people ask me why I have, so many different weights, or they accuse of like, oh, you just decorate with those ones. And I don't. I switch them out every single Sunday because it just keeps me motivated. It's one of the things I like about having so many different weight plates is I switch them out and I lift with a different set every single week. So it's whatever keeps you going, Well, hey, Mark, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And listeners, I'll drop a link for Plate Snacks. It's just platesnacks.com, but I'll drop a link in the description to Lift History. And of course, if you use code VINTAGE, VINTAGE, code VINTAGE, you will save yourself a little money and help out Lift History. So, Mark, thanks so much. Can they, let's see, you're on Instagram. Are you
Instagram,
also TikTok, other places?
Yeah. So Instagram plate_snacks. And early on, I talked to the original plate snacks, and like they literally post like a plate with like carrots and celery, like not much
awesome.
at all. I offered to buy it for like a decent amount too. Like they weren't having it.
They're
And
like,
then,
no, I'm keeping my name. That's awesome.
And I am on TikTok. I struggle and on TikTok, but I heard you talking in your last interview about that.
It's horrible.
And
I think I've gained 2 followers since that conversation with Design Build Lift. I've made no progress.
When you first posted you're on TikTok, I'm like, enjoy your, straight, 250 follow or likes, and then that's it.
Oh yeah.
And I went through this huge boom where I gained like 10,000 followers.
Oh wow.
I think I had like 4 videos hit over 1 million views, and like
Man.
I was doing like 50K, 100K, 600K, and
Wow.
then out of nowhere it's like, oh, I'm like 520, 500, like, and that's
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
then just the other day I did like I reposted the video of me putting on like a 45, a 5, a 25,
Of
a
the different
10.
designs. Yeah.
Yeah, just like all like I'm like, do you, this is there's only one way to load your bar, and it's like, just
Mhm.
like all like crazy, just to, spark some controversy. And like that got over, 1,000 or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
finally I broke through.
Yeah. You broke
Yeah,
through.
it's like TikTok's up and down, man.
Oh,
It's like they'll treat you good, and then they'll just like, that's it. Like you don't
just
but
yeah.
you gotta
I
enjoy it.
think since I'm already creating stuff for elsewhere for Instagram, I'll just throw it on there
Exactly. I don't
and
expect anything these days from
whatever.
it. It's
Yeah.
not
I
even
mean,
my target audience, but one day it
I'm
might
not.
be.
You at least were getting something. I'm not even getting the 200 views anymore. I'm getting like 6.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have more
like, yeah,
followers than views. My own
I've
followers aren't even looking at my stuff.
yeah, I plateaued, and it's pretty low plateau at this point. But
Uh, oh well. Me and Design Build Lift, we'll just keep on liking each other's posts until
yeah,
eventually one of them will go viral. We'll see what happens.
yeah,
Well, listeners, you can find him at plate_snacks. Don't go and follow this weirdo that has the plate with carrots on it. You want plate_snacks on Instagram. Did you manage to score the TikTok plate snacks, or was the
I
carrot guy
do.
on there too?
No,
Okay,
I got.
that's good. So the
And
carrot guy's not
then
on there.
all the other, yeah, I think it's all plate snacks. But
Excellent.
I'm linked everywhere. So like, just
Very
there's a
cool.
link somewhere to, from the
Yeah.
website or Instagram is really
And I
quick.
mean, this episode is dropping right smack dab in the middle of October. So plate snacks, get those gummies, get some decals for people you love. The holiday season is upon us, coming up
I got some
soon.
new flavors coming into the gummies, some sour
Nice.
cherry and some blue raspberry. So check
Pretty
them
soon you're
out.
just going to be a gummy salesman.
I know,
That's
I
it.
know. No, the guys at my day job make fun of me about selling the gummies, and
Nice. Hey,
hey, people like them, and they
whatever.
actually are good. Like, I'm kind of,
Exactly.
you get tired of them after a while, especially when you're selling them.
Yeah,
But you know,
that's true.
it's
I,
fun. It's cool. It's a cool product, and
yeah, I never knew about him until recently. Sugar Sean, uh, he, the UFC. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. UFC champion was on Rogan, and he mentioned them that he couldn't eat them because of WADA testing, because of drug testing, because they might not pass drug testing, something like that. So he was also in the same breath mentioning like how he's ultra like super careful with all this stuff, and it's not third party tested or something or other. So I
yeah.
think I think for the
These are
most,
just like protein. These are just like food. There's no supplement in them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any scare with your gummies. You'll be all
Oh,
right.
yeah. These aren't like happy gummies or anything.
Yeah, yeah. You'll be okay with your gummies. Well, hey, thanks so much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you too, brother. Appreciate it.